So I tell people sometimes that my engineering degree was the worst waste of time and money in my life. I thought if I was going to make a video about it, I would try to be more objective and look at statistics online instead of just relating my personal experience. So this video is about trying to calculate the value of an engineering degree with easily available statistics on the internet. I'm going to calculate the net value of an engineering degree as the extra money from the better paying job times the probability of landing that job minus the cost, which is like the cost of going to college and the opportunity cost of not making money while you're at college. And I suppose it also equals plus extra rent if you have to move to a more expensive city. And I'll try to convert everything into current dollars to be fair. And I'm going to ignore some things which are too complicated, like maybe investing. Maybe a warehouse guy can invest his money while the college guy is still working or something like that. I don't know. Or advancements like promotions. I'm going to ignore that. Anyway, so I'm going to use this little statistic I found. 277,000 STEM vacancies versus 442,000 new graduates. That means only 62% of graduates get hired, assuming old graduates like me in this category give up. And I'm going to assume the average person works for 45 years, from the age of 20 to 65. The average college debt, I'm just listing the assumptions. The average college debt is $100,000 with an interest rate of 3% and takes 10 years to pay off after graduation. And I got that number from my university saying that the current cost of living there for a year and going to school is $26,000 a year. And the opportunity cost of going to college is working in a warehouse. That's an assumption. And based on my experience working in warehouses, I'd say that you can easily expect to make $15 an hour at a warehouse. And you might easily expect to work maybe a little bit of overtime every week if you want, and you can get a couple weeks of vacation a year. So I'm going to assume that's how much money you make from working in the warehouse. I think it came out to be like $41,000 a year. And I'm only going to compare that to the entry-level positions for a warehouse to avoid confusion. With the current job I just got recently, I'm supposed to make $20.55 an hour. So obviously more than the $15 an hour. But it's just too confusing to compare possible advancements in the two different careers. So I'm just going to compare lower-level engineering jobs low-level warehouse jobs to entry-level engineering jobs. And obviously they can both advance, but the engineer will always make more with an equivalent level of advancement. And I'm not going to consider any non-college debts or investments, like I said. And I'm going to guess there's a 50% chance that engineering graduates will have to move from a cheap place like Kansas to an expensive place like California to get a job, which will raise the yearly rent from $10,000 a year to $30,000 a year. And I got that not from that baby video. I just Googled it, rent by state, and I found this table. I guess it's from Experian.com. Anyway, and I'm only using recent costs so that I don't think about inflation. And because I think sometimes statistics lie about how much you should expect to make as an engineer, I looked at real job posts on Indeed, and I just listed the first 10 that showed how much you're supposed to make and averaged them. And I got an average of $66,000 with a deviation in the mean of about $5,000. I guess I could calculate, if I really wanted, the error, like the error bars in my calculations, but that would just be too complicated. I'm just going to take the average. And I noticed of these, 4 out of 10 required at least 1 year of experience, and that's better than when I graduated. When I graduated and I was applying for jobs, basically every single job said they want at least 2 years of experience. And what was typical was 2 to 5 years of experience when I graduated and I was looking for work, which I thought was stupid. And about half of these jobs I found were in expensive cities like New York, or in expensive places like New York State or California. Anyway, when I do a bunch of math, some calculus and statistics and whatever, I got the total cost of a degree with tuition, interest, and lost income is about $300,000. Total engineering pay is almost $3 million. And in order to just subtract the $300,000, I included imaginary pay received while studying. So you just subtract the $300,000, which includes lost income, from that, and you get what you actually make. And then total warehouse pay is $1,800,000 approximately. And both of these, the engineering and the warehouse pay, ignore pay raises, just to make it simple. And the total raise in rent for engineers, because they might have to move to a more expensive place, is about $10,000 a year. I just guessed maybe there's a 50% chance you'll have to move, which comes out to about $450,000 in a lifetime. So that means if you get the job immediately after graduation, you'll earn an average of 20% more in your lifetime. Obviously, with a great deal of variation depending on who you are and what your circumstances are. Considering the possibility you won't get a job, you'll earn about 6% more in your lifetime, which, considering the huge error, the huge uncertainty in these kind of calculations, that basically means it's a toss whether getting your engineering degree will actually help you or not. I was surprised that it was actually positive, but given the assumptions I made, it did actually come out to be a little bit positive on average from getting a degree. But if you never get a STEM job, you'll earn about 16% less in your lifetime, which is about a 40% chance based on the number of graduates versus the number of new STEM jobs. And just for fun, I guess maybe you'll have a 100% chance of getting an entry-level job if you have a PhD, and the extra time and money needed to get the PhD, again, pretty much exactly cancel out the added benefit of guaranteed job acquisition. So yeah, based on these assumptions I made, there's a very small increase in income on average from getting an engineering degree, with a huge amount of variation on a case-by-case basis. The standard deviation in benefit from the degree is surely much, much larger than 6%. In my case, I never even got an interview for a STEM job, but my parents paid for my degree, so the total value of my degree appears to be about minus $270,000, of which my parents paid a little over $100,000 in current money. I think they actually paid less than that much, but that was like 6 years ago. How much did my degree increase my chances of getting a job? I have applied for somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 STEM jobs. I used to have a more exact number, but I can't remember because it was a few years ago and I lost my record. So I just know it's somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000. There was not a single instance in which a real person replied to one of my applications, at least for STEM jobs. I graduated with 3.43 GPA on the honor roll, and that's, I was on the honor roll because I got like straight A's in my last year, but I was a little bit reckless about studying, and I did some reckless things in my first year and had a lower GPA, and the average was the 3.43. Anyway, I passed the FE exam in electrical engineering, and I was in the 71st percentile. That means I scored better than 71% of the people taking the physics GRE, which is what you need to get to. You need to take that test in order to be a grad student. And I did get professional help with my resume on a couple occasions. So let's be generous and say I gave up one resume too soon and that I could have gotten a job if I applied one more time. And let's also be generous and use the lower limit for my estimate for how many job applications I sent. Let's also assume the chances of getting an entry-level STEM job without a degree is about 0%. So based on this experimental evidence, getting my degree increased the chances that any particular STEM application I send will be accepted by less than 0.1%. So basically I have a 0% chance of getting a STEM job if I apply without a degree, My degree made it so that every application I send will have about a 0.1%, or probably significantly less, chance of getting me the STEM job. And that's why I mailed my degree back to my university, and why I will never apply for an engineering job ever again.